Okay, we're going to take a brief overview of the DC order application from the store's perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and load the application. Now, if you need to make any changes aside from closing the port, sending the order, or taking a report, then you'll have to log into it. So we're going to log in with 192.682, and then you'll see that you have some options. We're going to go ahead and look at some of these options real quick. What we can do is open up the query analyzer, which will give us access to our database. And from here, you could say, let me find my database. Worthington. And there's my database. Yours will be in the C Storeman DC order folder at the store. And then we could actually hit list tables. And then notice there's two tables, order header and the orders. From there you can run some basic queries to look at the data if you need to. And that's all I'm going to cover there. If you want to reopen an order that was accidentally closed, you can come over here. These are all the closed orders, so I'm going to say order 32 had 3 items. And I'm going to select it. And my order has been reopened. And I can tell that because I can go to send order. And there's my option. You can also go over here and say close all orders. If you get somebody else's database that's got a bunch of orders in there, you want to just kind of get them out of the way. And now when you go to send order, there's no open orders. So those might be some useful tools right there. Now we're going to look at some of the basic settings for the application. These two pretty much originated from when I was setting the application up. You just want to make sure it's on send ASCII. A port delay is in case the computer's slow. You'll have 200 milliseconds delay on the port. This checkbox will enable that when you scan an item, if this box is checked, it'll automatically look to see if you've already scanned that item in the current order. If so, then it deletes that item and then adds the new entry. Here's your Storeman folder. We will need this because we have to know where to send the files to the head office. So it'll pick C Storeman Office XF 999901. These two, don't worry about these. These have to be there for the different protocols. If it's either a 4 or 6 line display, when it goes to clear all the screens, it's going to use these two commands to know how to clear the screen. For some reason, the protocols are not backwards compatible. When you go to look up reports, you can look up only open, only closed, or any. We're just going to leave it on any. That way they can look at any report they want. Otherwise, after they send an order, they wouldn't be able to go back and look at it, or they wouldn't be able to look at one before they sent it. And on the gun, when you go to open an order, this is how many orders you want it to look up. So if you had 10 orders open, it would only look up the last 5. Now, if you want the Worthington to talk to you and say, item, quantity, check this. If it gets annoying, uncheck it. The guy will stop talking to you. These you probably should never change. These are just in there in case we need to reword some stuff. But this is what you'll see on the screen as you run the application. First, Houchins ordering, start new order, open order, and then question mark for the prompt, and then the scan item prompt and the enter quantity prompt. Database. When you go to take the report, if you want to see if there's a description for the item, you can check database, put your information in here, and then it'll try to look up based on the cost record a description. We're not really using that at any stores now, but you can turn that on if you want. And then here's where our query analyzer is, the folder that it's in. And then here's our basic serial port settings, which are the same as these settings down here. And you can change them here. That's a quick overview of how the application basically is set up and just some little tweaks that you can see for it. We'll cover using the application and the head office in a different video.